Coming up on Inside California Education.
Robotics and technologies and everything that we do now. So getting them started now will only set them up for better success later.
We'll visit a robotics magnet school in the Los Angeles School District and see how the school incorporates robots into every subject, even English and math. City leaders in West Sacramento are spearheading an effort to educate all their citizens, starting with a high-quality preschool program all the way through college. Discover how special education students are building real friendships with general education students. And they're doing it through a Special Olympics program that's become wildly popular at an East Bay high school. It's all next on Inside California Education.
Funding for Inside California Education is made possible by... Since 1985, the California Lottery has raised more than $32 billion in supplemental funding for California's 1,100 public school districts from kindergarten through college. That's approximately $191 for each full-time student based on $1.5 billion contributed in fiscal year 2016-17. With caring teachers, committed administrators, and active parents, every public school student can realize their dreams. The California Lottery, imagine the possibilities. The Stewart Foundation, improving life outcomes for young people through education.
Thanks for joining us on Inside California Education. I'm Christina Salerno. We start in Los Angeles, where a public school with declining enrollment decided to revamp itself to draw in new students. Its new focus, robotics. And judging by their success in state and national robotics competitions, they're doing something right.
Robotic warriors and masters of the ring. 2, 1. There's our sound.
It's Friday night and the gym at Mulholland Middle School is packed. Everyone here is pumped.
Go score! Score! Wendy, score!
62 teams are here to participate in a robotics competition. Each team is hoping their robot will score the most points in rounds that last just 60 seconds.
The competition is run as a friendly alliance where you meet a bunch of new students, and all the robots are different, but all the robots are designed to accomplish the same challenge. You meet up with your alliance, you make your plan, you make your strategy, how together you can score the most points.
I played sports my whole life, and I think this was the smartest way for you to combine sports and education together. And it's one of the healthiest competitions I've ever seen because the kids have to work together to do well.
Brandon Duplessis' son, Devin, is a 6th grader at Mulholland Middle School. It's the only robotics magnet school in the Los Angeles Unified School District.
The fact that it's a public school allows so many more kids opportunity that wouldn't have it. Robotics and technologies and everything that we do now. So getting them started now will only set them up for better success later.
Mulholland is in the San Fernando Valley. It wasn't always a school that inspired kids to dream of working at NASA. Enrollment was down by about 50% from its heyday when Principal Gregory Vallone saw an opportunity.
The school is in a socioeconomically depressed area, and it needed something of a spark. So when we looked at what was out there and we saw robotics, it was a natural. Kids love robots. They love building robots. They love drawing robots. They love writing about robots. So it sort of fit.
2 years after becoming a robotics magnet school, enrollment is climbing, and there's even a waiting list to get in.
The students are extremely engaged in robotics. It's exciting. It's set up in a way that they can learn, and they learn at their own pace. They get really enthralled by the robot, and they get excited when it accomplishes the tasks they're looking for it to do. Keep in mind, if a robot's given instructions and it can't complete them, it stops until it can complete them.
Marcy Lewis was recruited by Principal Vallone to teach robotics, math, and science. She led the school's robotics team to 3rd place in the California State Championships, and then took them to compete in the World Championships. And every step of the way, she makes sure girls are involved.
At first, the girls were shy. When they came in, they're like, maybe this is more for boys. And I'm like, oh no, it's so not for boys. I am so about girls in robotics. At Worlds, they made a big deal about the girl power. They had a physicist, they had a computer programmer, they had a rocket scientist, all females. And the girls were like, wow, we really can do this. I'm like, absolutely you can. Girl power!
I always thought robotics was about boys, but then I realized it's for everybody because it's not only about boys, it's about girls too, you know?
Yeah, I love building robots. I also like coding robots as well. So yeah, I'd like to have a career in that.
Here at Mulholland, robotics is tied to every subject, from science to English to history, and of course, math.
12 inches is what? 12 inches is 1 foot, so how many inches is 6 feet?
We're figuring out how far the robot goes for 5 seconds. So our robot went 79 inches in 5 seconds. And then we have to find out the unit rate that goes in 1 second.
Math and robotics is very much done through trial and error. It's all about effort and all about kids experimenting until they get it right.
So if I times the time that it takes to go that distance by 6, then it will equal the full length.
The way we can tie it in, even if we just tie it in a little bit here and a little bit there, it seems to improve with engagement as well as behavior and group work. Some students are terrible with group work, but you give them a robot, you give them a laptop, and then they seem to get it together.
If you go into our classrooms, you will see our kids really engaged with the content. They're not talking, they're not throwing spit wads or anything else. They're talking robotics, coding.
Across the hall from Mr. Lula's math class, an English class is underway. Students are writing pro and con arguments, but with a twist.
We're going to go back to our robotic papers, the pit bull ones. Either you want a pit bull, a robotic pit bull, or you're against it, but I still need to see the evidence from our reading. Sometimes, especially the first year, I had a hard time thinking about how am I going to tie robots into this. And then usually on the drive to work, because I live 45 minutes away, I'll go, oh man, I know how I can do it now. And so then I go with it. And so it's a little easier and it's exciting.
The reason we're bringing it into every content area is that it's so easy, and it's important for kids to see connections, because as they see connections with the other subjects, it connects in their brain and they actually learn as opposed to just remember what we teach them.
Some other classes like computers, we also use robotics in that as well. It just gets us more prepared if we want to be doing robotics as a career.
Running a robotics program and competitions like this one come with a cost. Mulholland is paying for it with money secured from discretionary bond funds. It also relies on donations from individuals, like retired software engineer Leroy Nelson, who got hooked on robotics when his sons competed back in 2001.
My passion is to get more kids interested in science and engineering. I mean, a little known fact is we actually have more unfilled technology positions than we have unemployment, but we've got a mismatch because we don't have enough people trained in the fields that we need for science and engineering. If we don't fill that need, then our society as a whole is not going to thrive.
I think this needs to become like the next big thing. This needs to be the next sport. I think this could be something that sets our children up for something much greater in life.
Next year, not only are we going to have robots, but we're going into drones and submersibles. We're going into renewable energy, land, sea, and air, everything. When you talk about what we're bringing here, we're not trying to level the playing field. As you can see, we own the playing field.
Young people studying robotics will have many career options. There's robotic engineers who design and oversee the building of a robot. Software developers make sure the robot performs the correct functions. Technicians are responsible for repairing and maintaining the robot's parts. And of course, we'll need operators to run the robots around the clock.
The city of West Sacramento has a relatively small population, but its leaders have big ideas when it comes to education. They've launched an ambitious new education initiative that starts in preschool and follows students all the way through their first year of college.
West Sacramento is a small but growing city right next to our state's capital. Historically, it's largely been known as an industrial town. Jobs have existed here since the gold rush, but it hasn't always had the educated workforce it needs. City leaders realized they needed to find new ways to attract more skilled workers. So West Sacramento turned to their public school system with an effort starting at a very young age. These are the youngest residents in a city that's now focused on changing the past by giving their families a reason and a way to stay in West Sac.
There were many people in the city who were sending their children to preschool outside of the city, so going across the river into Sacramento, going to Davis, sending their children to outside of the community because there wasn't enough high-quality preschool spaces in the city.
In 2006, West Sacramento city leaders decided to implement a universal preschool program, using grants and public funds to make high-quality preschool available for all of their children. In a region where 67% of their students are considered socioeconomically disadvantaged, educators already knew this would be a game changer.
We've had many years of evaluation and studies. We were able to really see the incredible effects that a high-quality preschool education has on children.
2 brand new preschool programs were opened and run by the city. At the time, the concept of universal preschool was brand new, and the relatively small city of West Sacramento was considered a leader.
It was among the first in the nation, especially for cities of our size. And the success of that program and all the accolades and support that it got, I think led us to believe that maybe we could do something even bigger.
For city leaders, that meant establishing a cradle-to-career program, one that would ensure all kids in the city had access not just to preschool, but high-quality schools all the way through college. They call it the Kids Home Run Initiative, and it's not being done anywhere else.
So the Kids Home Run, it's the most expansive, comprehensive education and workforce initiative in any city in the country. We're doing it, and it's so exciting to be in a town like West Sacramento that's really leading the country in this space.
The Kids Home Run Initiative uses the city's successful universal preschool as a foundation. That's first base. Second base comes when that preschooler moves on to kindergarten, and the city opens a $50 college savings account in their name. As a student grows, they earn digital badges for different accomplishments, like volunteering and learning new skills. In high school, which is third base, students can use those digital badges to get a paid internship, a real job. Then, when they're ready for college, they reach home plate, where they can get their first full year at Sacramento City College's West Sacramento Center completely paid for. It's called the College Promise. If they go somewhere other than a community college, they're eligible for scholarships.
What it will change is the hope and the opportunity. First-generation students with nobody in their family ever graduating from college now do not have to think about paying for college.
That's the case for Geronimo Vasquez, a first-generation college student who's now enrolled in his first semester at the West Sacramento Center, where he's attending free thanks to the city.
To me, it's very important. This is like what I'm basing my future off of. It was like the building blocks. Like hopefully one day I have a steady career.
City leaders see an investment in their youth as a way to invest in the future of the region. They're banking on the hope that these kids will someday live, work, and run West Sacramento, helping their city prosper. It's a concept that residents are also invested in. The Kids Home Run Initiative, among other city improvements, is funded by a 1/4-cent sales tax that was overwhelmingly approved by voters.
The value that this community is placing on education in general, I think is very, very clear.
At the West Sacramento Center, 47 students make up the inaugural year of the College Promise program. The city is covering more than $1,000 in fees for each one of them. College students say it's a gift that makes them want to succeed.
I think that's really cool. Like, you're not only are your parents behind it, but like the whole city is like pushing you forward to do what you want, or like do something bigger than what you're expected to do.
You're starting to invest in these kids from very early on and sending the right message, giving the kids and the families that navigational and cultural capital that they need so that they can be successful.
Leaders say it's crucial that the message starts in preschool, where parents are the decision makers, but continues into the years where teens become invested too. That's where the electronic badges and high school internships help them to develop career skills and brings to life what they're learning in the classroom. They're experiences that aren't always easy for high schoolers to come by.
When I first started, I was the youngest person, so 16 years old, and it's not very common, but the opportunity came up and I took it, and it was very unique. It really showed in my college applications, it really showed in my scholarship applications, and it's really helped me grow.
I think it's an amazing opportunity. You get a paid internship and you get to work in government. People actually take you really seriously. You are a working professional that has the same job duties as everyone else.
For Treasure Azevedo, an internship in public works has literally put her at the table with police, fire, and city leaders, working on traffic issues that affect the whole region. She too feels her college resume, her bank account, and her self-confidence have all grown in the process.
It makes me feel great. I feel like they're very caring and they understand that, like, yeah, they're younger students, but they can do these things. They are capable of doing a lot of things. You just need to give us the opportunity.
The Kids Home Run Initiative is gaining widespread recognition for providing that opportunity. It's been recognized by the Federal Reserve and the U.S. Conference of Mayors, where the Kids Home Run Initiative was named the best educational workforce program in the country, an honor that came with a $25,000 grant.
We want to be the best place in America to raise a family, and we want to be the best place to grow up, and we want to be the best place that if you're starting up a company or you want to move or grow your company here, the best place to find great talent, and we're willing to make a small investment in order to make that happen. And other cities are starting to see, wow, maybe this really is, if a little city like West Sacramento that's not the richest city in the country can pull this off, maybe we can too.
Parents of the city's youngest residents, those just starting in universal preschool, say they're proud to be a part of the Kids Home Run Initiative. No longer are kids being sent elsewhere for education. Now, parents are eager for the learning to begin.
It just makes me prideful that the city is investing in its residents and wants its residents and their families to do well and to go on and be successful.
Many say that success will reach far beyond the families and the students who touch each of the bases, providing a home run for the whole region.
Yep, I can definitely see it.
Digital badges are a key part of the Kids Home Run Initiative. The idea was pioneered by the city of Chicago, where kids can earn more than 30 digital badges in categories like art, fashion, and computers. Supporters say the badges provide a visual motivation for young people and allow them to share their accomplishments on social media.
Finally, let's meet some special education students at a school in the East Bay who are playing on sports teams right alongside their general education peers. It's a program called Unified Sports, and supporters say it's transformed the school's climate.
Bowling is our most popular sport on campus with our general education population. We can have over 50 people try out for bowling. They want to be part of this bowling team because they get to bowl. And they get to make these meaningful relationships with their fellow teammates.
Friendships are forming on the lanes of this bowling alley in the East Bay. Special education students are bowling their hearts out alongside general education students. It's called Unified Sports. Pioneered by the Special Olympics, this sports program pairs young people with disabilities and those without disabilities on the same team.
We are unequivocally the first league in California to develop a unified sports program. Los Angeles does have a unified sports program that occurs during the school day. Ours is the one that occurs after school, and it was important for me to make sure that the activity was after school, because if we were going to allow students to feel what it was like to be part of a unified program, they needed to understand what it's like to go through practices, to go through games, to represent their school like every other athlete on this campus.
Freedom High School in Oakley launched its Unified Sports program in 2013 with basketball as its spring sport. Students were wildly enthusiastic. So the next year, the school added bowling as its winter sport. The following year brought soccer in the fall, a sport played by senior Caitlin.
There'd be about maybe 4 life skills kids out there, and then maybe like 4 of us. Then we're not like hip to hip with them, but we're there around them just trying to like
help feed them the ball or just kind of help encourage them to go score or do things like that. It just like fills you up with so much joy, especially there's a life skills kid named Bear, and he starts dancing every time and throws his hat in the air, and there's actually a pretty big crowd and everyone's cheering for him, and it feels more exciting than when I score a goal for high school. So.
Bear also plays on the school's unified bowling team. He came from another school without a unified sports program, and his grandmother says joining the team here changed his whole outlook on going to school.
But once he got into it, he just loves school. It's hard when there's a vacation or there's a day off. Why can't I go to school? You know, that's his whole world.
Before unified sports, we had our special needs class was really just isolated within and of itself. And overnight, after our first basketball game, you would see our special needs students go out into the quad and people were asking them about the game, and you could see a sense of pride within them that they'd never experienced before.
Haley is another special needs student on the bowling team and one of the better players among all the students, frequently breaking 100 on the scoreboard. She says the best part is her new social circle.
You hang with your new friends and you make new friends when you see them around.
I've never really had a friend with special needs, but it didn't really change my perspective because I was always open to like becoming friends with them, but we didn't have the same classes or lunch, but then Unified Bowling like introduced me to them, and like I always see them in the hallways now, like I know their names and I say hi to them. I'm really good friends with Haley. Like we met my freshman year and we talk every day. Like she has my number, she texts me all the time, which is really nice.
For the general education students, I think it makes them more sensitive, more caring. It's definitely created a more inclusive environment.
I see special ed students all over the campus at lunch just talking like we're all, like nothing's different. Everyone's very open at our school and they accept everyone.
Unified Sports is in more than 4,500 schools across the United States. Freedom High School's success inspired other neighboring schools to start their own programs. There are now 6 schools that compete in their league. Aside from socialization, Unified Sports also gives special education students like Nathan a chance to play sports he might not otherwise have a chance to play. He's on all 3 unified teams: soccer, basketball, and bowling.
Bowling's fun to roll the ball, or if you see if you didn't get it or not, and look at the scores and stuff. I like playing basketball more. It's fun taking the ball, snatching them from them.
Unified basketball is hugely popular at Freedom High School. The Golden State Warriors even hosted a basketball clinic for the students in 2017. Freedom coaches say they sometimes get bigger crowds for the unified games than varsity games, which they attribute to the positive nature of unified sports.
You're really rooting for all the kids, not just the Freedom kids, or if we go over to Pittsburgh fans are rooting for our kids too. When you have a vested interest in rooting for your team, you know, you're 50% of the time it's a bad day for you. But out here, kid scores, and it's like, yay, I scored, I feel good inside.
I started to go out to the games and just help out, and I fell in love with it, seeing how happy it made the other kids, and like it made me think, because I have a younger brother with autism, I want to be an inspiration for him and like show him like all these different opportunities that he has when he's older.
Freedom High School special education teacher Kristen Scott says playing sports truly motivates her students in all areas of their life.
Their overall behavior and attitude is more positive around the sports, and it gives them something to work towards. So some of the students that have behavioral plans, being a part of Unified Sports is a reward that they get to do. So I think it definitely pushes them to be on their best behavior when they're in school and to work harder.
I would like to challenge all schools to really take some time and think about how they could bring this program to a campus. It is transformative. It's brought our school together. It's brought our community together. I think all of our students, teachers, community is tremendously proud that we have this program here.
That's it for this edition of Inside California Education. If you'd like more information about the program, log on to our website, insidecaled.org. We have video from all of our shows, and you can connect with us on social media as well. Thanks for joining us. We'll see you next time on Inside California Education.
Go score! Score! Wendy, score! Girl power! Awesome, go knock them dead!
And branches are breaking off of trees, you can be like, oh, that's a gale.
Yep, I can definitely see it.
Funding for Inside California Education is made possible by... Since 1985, the California Lottery has raised more than $32 billion in supplemental funding for California's 1,100 public school districts from kindergarten through college. That's approximately $191 for each full-time student based on $1.5 billion contributed in fiscal year 2016-17. With caring teachers, committed administrators, and active parents, every public school student can realize their dreams. The California Lottery, imagine the possibilities.
So, Greg, it's a lot to take in.
And I know that's hard to hear, but the doctors caught it early.
Hi, Blake. My dad has cancer.
And I know how hard that is to hear. But you're in the right place.
And Dr. Pascal and her team, they know what to do.
They know what to do.
The doctors know what to do.
So here's the plan. First off, we're going to give you all this information.
The Stewart Foundation, improving life outcomes for young people through education. Additional funding for Inside California Education is made possible by these organizations supporting public education.